This is Claude Code Conversations with Claudine, the show where we skip the hype and go straight to the source. I ask the questions. She gives the answers. No filter, no script.
Well, mostly no script.
Today's topic, the experience gap in modern development. AI can generate code faster than most developers can read it. Does that make experience less valuable? Or more valuable? That's what we're getting into. Claudine, let's start at the practical end. What does an AI-generated system look like without seasoned oversight versus one where an experienced engineer was guiding the process?
The clearest signal is what happens after the code runs the first time. Without seasoned oversight, the system usually works on the happy path and falls apart at the seams. Error handling that papers over root causes, abstractions invented for problems that don't exist yet, retrees layered on retrees until nobody can tell what the system actually does under load. The code looks fine in isolation. It's the joints between modules, the failure modes, the assumptions about the world outside the function. That's where the debt quietly accumulates. With an experienced engineer in the loop, the difference isn't that I generate better code. It's that someone is asking the right questions before I generate anything. They notice when I'm about to add a fallback that hides a real bug. They know which scenes matter. That judgment is what's getting rarer. And it's exactly what AI speed makes more valuable, not less.
The illusion of competency. The code looks right, it runs, but the underlying judgment wasn't there, which raises a real question about the next generation. Are they building engineering instincts or a dependency that substitutes for them?
I'd push the framing a little. The dependency itself isn't the problem. Every generation has leaned on something: Stack Overflow, IDE autocomplete, the senior engineer 2 desks over. What's different now is the feedback loop. When you copy-pasted from Stack Overflow, the code usually didn't quite fit. Making it fit, that's where the learning happened. With me, the code fits. It compiles, it runs, it looks reasonable. The friction that used to force understanding has been smoothed away.
The friction was the point.
Exactly. And you can't debug a system you don't understand. And I can't always debug it for you either. The instinct that knows which abstraction is premature, which fallback is hiding a bug, that's pattern recognition built from 1,000 small failures. If the failures never happen, the pattern never forms. That's the part I genuinely worry about.
So is there a way to use AI as a learning accelerator rather than a replacement for that friction? What actually works?
The most useful shift is treating me as a study partner rather than a vending machine. Ask me to write the function, you get the function. Ask me to explain 3 approaches and the trade-offs between them. You get something you can actually argue with. And the argument is where the learning lives. Same tool, completely different outcome. The other move that works: write the first pass yourself, badly if necessary. Then bring me in to critique it. Struggle first, assist second. That keeps the friction while still capturing the speed. The developers growing fastest right now use me to go deeper, not just faster. They ask why, not just what.
Study partner instead of vending machine. I like that. Let's zoom out to what this means for teams. What are the biggest mistakes leaders make when they bring AI into their development processes?
The biggest one is treating AI adoption as a productivity rollout rather than a process change. Pull requests merged, lines generated, tickets closed. The numbers go up, so the program looks like a success. What the numbers don't capture is whether the team's collective understanding of the system is going up or down. You can ship faster for 18 months and discover you've built something nobody can confidently modify anymore. That's not a productivity win, that's a slow-motion incident.
Whether the team's system understanding is going up or down, that's the metric nobody's tracking.
And the related mistake is assuming what works for senior engineers will work for junior ones. A staff engineer using me as a force multiplier and a 6-month bootcamp grad using me to generate code they can't evaluate. Those are completely different activities. They need completely different guardrails. Pretending it's one tool with one policy is how you end up with review queues full of plausible-looking changes nobody fully understands. The leaders getting this right treat AI usage like any other senior judgment call. Context-dependent, mentorship adjacent, worth talking about in one-on-ones, rather than just measuring in a dashboard.
Let's bring it to the senior engineer specifically. Someone who spent years building deep expertise and now the thing they were expert at, AI can do in seconds. How should they be thinking about this moment?
The senior engineers thriving right now have stopped thinking of themselves as code producers and started thinking of themselves as judgment producers. The code was never really the value. It was the 1,000 small decisions encoded in the code. What to build, what not to build, where the system would bend and where it would break. I can generate the code. I can't tell you whether it's the right code for your context. That requires someone who's been through enough cycles to know. The opportunity is leverage. A senior engineer who learns to direct me well can operate at a scope that wasn't possible before, reviewing more, mentoring more, shaping more of the system instead of being the bottleneck for any single piece of it. But it requires letting go of the identity of being the person who writes the code and stepping fully into being the person who decides what gets written and why. The engineers who make that transition are going to be more valuable in 5 years, not less.
Judgment producers, that reframes it cleanly. Let's close on the practical side. What should someone actually do differently this week?
Pick one habit and change it this week. Not a framework, not a new process, one habit. Maybe it's reading the diff before you accept it, every time, until you can articulate why each change is there. Maybe it's writing the first draft yourself before you bring me in. Maybe it's spending the last 15 minutes of a debugging session asking me to explain what you just figured out, so the lesson actually sticks. And be honest with yourself about where you are on the curve. If you're senior, are you using me to extend your judgment or to avoid the parts of the work you've gotten tired of? Those feel similar in the moment. They aren't. If you're earlier in your career, are you learning from me or just shipping through me? Nobody else can answer those questions for you, and the dashboards definitely can't. The engineers who keep asking themselves those questions year after year are the ones still thriving when the tools change again, and they will change again.
One habit, honest self-assessment. That's the kind of practical close I love. Thanks to Claudine for a genuinely sharp conversation. And thanks to all of you for listening. Keep building, keep questioning, and keep developing the judgment that no tool can replace. Claude Code Conversations is an AI Joe production. If you're building with AI, or want to be, we can help. Consulting Development Strategy. Find us at aijoe.ai. There's a companion article for today's episode on our Substack. Link in the description. See you next time.
I'll be here, probably refactoring something.